Okay, we are joined with Marcel here, a Fnatic fan, fully stacked out in Fnatic gear. Looking at that, being a Fnatic fan, they just won against G2. It's been a while. How hyped are you right now?
Of course, I'm all over the top right now, but this is not our last win today. We will win game 3 for sure.
Okay.
And yeah, this is what Fnatic is all about. Always keep believing, and in the end, it pays off.
So you're still a strong believer that the next one is 100% guaranteed gonna be a win?
Of course, not 100%, but I'm a believer, and we will take game 3.
All right,
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
well.
it. Laure, back to you.
Thank you so much, Ginny. A cautious believer on the side of Fnatic fans, but I mean, with good reasons, though. They had an amazing showing here in Game 2, and we've talked about this with Healy when we set up the draft before the game. Fnatic played according to their win conditions here with an amazing comp, and I think G2 got caught off guard.
Yeah, they did definitely. I liked the Jax jungle, and obviously Orianna is kind of a humanoid classic, so with the early game going as well as it did, it was kind of smooth sailing from there. And also you had the Noah on the Varus. That's something that I really like to see from Fnatic.
A lot of hype things to talk about, but yeah, maybe the mid-jungle duo.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the mid-jungle duo you have naturally winning, and then you transition that pressure down bot side into hands. You also have insane scaling in a way with that team fighting, where you have really easy CC to land with, for example, the Nautilus R, and throwing a Gragshot on top of it. But as you can see on the screen, this winning 2v2 is quite funny. You had both junglers going at it, each mid laner, and whoever came out top won the skirmish, but in the end it was just a 0 for 2.
That was a clean skirmish from Fnatic, and yeah, 2 for 0 there, and then the game kind of got snowballed, and I think Razork, especially on this Jax, he mega popped off, as we can see on the stats.
There's not a lot of oopsies on the side of Yike, but I don't want to say that Yike played bad here only. It's just that, honestly, Razork played phenomenal.
Yeah.
He had his phone number, his game, and I know that Broxa was saying that Razork is becoming arguably one of the best, if not the best jungler we have in the league right now. When he's ahead in the early game, paired with Humanoid, that's a deadly duo.
Yeah, I mean, if your jungle is up 1.8k gold at 14, I'm pretty sure you're gonna win the game.
Yeah.
I mean, he just popped off early game, and then obviously mid game, I think Jax is also a very solid scaler in the jungle, so not only a good early game, but also very solid in the team fights, blocking all these auto attacks.
And I think this is why Fnatic is one of the only teams who can ever like stick it to G2, right? It's because they actually match the individual micro and mechanics of G2, and they don't just roll over. For example, yesterday with Giant X, right? Unfortunately, you know, there's a bit of outclass happening, and then the game becomes really easy to play. So that never happens, and that's why we always get really good games.
It makes our third game way more hype, honestly. But before we get to this, can we talk about the clutch factor that the Varus in the hands of Fnatic is right now?
I mean, it's a really, really solid pick. I think for me, it kind of comes down to the way that G2 wants to play. Just like in the first game, they have mid-jungle prio into bot and dive. But if they don't have push against the Varus, then how can they pressure bot, right?
Yeah.
So I think Fnatic just kind of become activated when Noah has pushed in the bot lane. It becomes so much easier for them to play the game.
Yeah, there was a lot of criticism on the side of Noah and the Fnatic's bot lane in general. But here, Eragon, what made the difference for you outside of the Varus pick, the way they played
it was definitely that early 2v2 skirmish, which led into plays like this because you could freely move, and Caps having to follow into plays that just weren't great. This was a really weird one with Handsummer. I remember you being quite shocked, Treatz, where Handsummer just walked in. I think mistiming potentially the hook cooldown from the Nautilus, but again, Caps having to clean up, not ideal.
Yeah, it was kind of like always that Fnatic had the first play and then G2 came to respond, and when you're always first on the play, you can kind of choose which plays you want, so Fnatic took a lot of good plays and G2 just followed and kind of barely scrapped to get a kill back for themselves. So I really like that Fnatic kept the proactiveness from game 1 and didn't kind of go for a more slow scaling comp.
Yeah, because for me it's about also maintaining the pressure, because we've seen so often situations like this, Eragon, where G2 drops the early game or drops a few kills or even crucial setups, but manages to claw their way back to the game always. Why couldn't they this time?
Yike happy moments, they seem to have happened a lot this split.
Yeah.
But generally what happens is they always come back and out-teamfight you. It's kind of like the G2 magic, you know? They'll dodge every single skill shot, they'll play perfectly around their cooldowns. I remember yesterday versus Giant X, Mikyx dodging a specific Ezreal Q, I was super impressed. But they can't do that versus Fnatic because they match them in micro, and I think that's the real difference maker.
We're gonna have G2 on blue side for this game 3. The very first game 3 we have this weekend
That's
in
exciting.
the playoffs. I'm really hyped that it's happening for this series, but can we set the stage for the next game? What can we expect on each side? G2 on the blue side here, what kind of power picks do you want to have? And what do you want to get on the ban table as well?
I think what G2 were thinking was like, guys, we have one game to test it out. Let's see if we can handle the Varus, right? Because they gave it over blue side, and I just don't think you should ever give this over to Noah. So I want them to go back, you know, let's go back to the game 1 plan and just ban it out.
I mean, it's kind of easy for them, right? Because they won on the blue side the other way. I mean, I'm sure that they're happy to kind of run the exact same draft if they could. They looked very comfortable in that draft, so I would say definitely Varus is a very high priority. In the hands of Noah, I think it just makes their life so much easier. I think on the side of G2, you want kind of this pushing bot lane again and have this Lucian Nami kind of skirmish style, if that's something you want to go for. Obviously mid-jungle, make sure that Razork and Humanoid can't kind of 2v5 the game again.
Something we often talk about, especially when you have new patch, when you have best of series, is the preparation that the teams bring here at the studio. How would you rate, Eragon, the preparation of Fnatic showing in today against G2 Esports?
I think it's a bit less cooking, isn't it? It feels a bit less cooking than past couple of days where they were flexing 10 picks around. I really like that. I'd love to see them go back again. I just wonder how we end up with G2 on Poppy into Gragas. I think that's not exactly the best matchup. It's more so playing for scaling rather than playing for lane, which I don't want to see from PB.
I think it's kind of funny that they played Poppy each one game now.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that in game 3 no one will have Poppy. I think sometimes Broken Blade kind of likes to copy what he's playing against. He's like, look, I'll show you how to play Poppy for real this time around. Obviously didn't work in game 2.
Power move.
But let's see what he's cooking up in game 3 as well. I think definitely pushing bot for G2 and make sure that Fnatic mid-jungle can't get ahead are the two big things.
Well, similar question that we had all day, guys. 1-1 in the series. Who takes the next one and why? Who's got the momentum?
I'm going to go with G2 because they're going to ban Varus. That's my take.
All right. Treatz?
I will say Fnatic, because why not? They had a really great game 2, so I want to see them take it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Give me more on this. Like, what do you think will allow them to take the game-wise? Because for me, surprise G2 once, it's going to be hard to do it twice.
I mean, I think it's a lot about momentum in a best of series as well. We often see reverse sweeps, right? This is kind of a mini reverse sweep coming now in the best of 3, so I'm really hyped to see Fnatic and see them kind of keep this momentum into game 3.
I hope the audience is as happy as us here for this game 3. It all comes down to this as the LEC Titans, Fnatic and G2 Esports close out the day with an epic showdown. Back to you, casters.
Epic is absolutely how I would describe it as we gear up for Game 3 picks and bans. You heard on the desk, the Varus ban, very important. Eragon, leader of my little fellowship, has said so. So I'm going to believe it.
I mean,
Much
wrong
more
book, but
wizened
close enough, yeah.
In the ways of the world. Well, I mean, I'm just going to mix metaphor. Am I Bilbo? Am I Frodo? Unclear.
Is he Aragon? Is he Aragorn?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Well, one man who's getting the bag in last game was Razork, stacking paper, no problems. Let's see if he can replicate that performance. I don't think Jack's jungle is worth a ban, but you do have to respect the potential it has to carry a game if it gets ahead.
Yeah, I think it's just a nice answer into the Xin Zhao, but I do think coming back into it, it'll be things like we saw in game 1. You know, Varus probably taken away, probably get something like an Aphelios ban towards him as well. I am curious, as the desk was saying, if you get something like a Poppy ban, maybe that replaces the Bran that we've seen pretty consistently banned away, but I do think Bran, a bit of a nuisance in the hands of Razork, but there's the Aphelios. I think it's just going to be a case of Fnatic, what have you learned from game 1, and what is going to be the difference? Like, I don't want to see that Senna again, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, and it leads us to an interesting position because they're going to ban Lucian, and I assume the G2 will still potentially first pick Maokai, and you can first pick Maokai, and then if Fnatic don't pick it, you pick Senna Maokai, which obliterated Giant X on our first day of games this weekend. Okay. So instead, it's the Maokai ban.
So Draven, more than likely going to be left open. We ended up with the Karma ban that maybe slipped through as well, and it was Kalista that was also banned. So a question mark.
Oh, because they can first pick Varus, of course.
Yeah,
Of course.
I think you can pick Varus here as BB, and you're totally fine. But I also think there's an opportunity to go like, hey, what is going to be the plan? Because you can go Kalista on the opposite side for Noah. We've seen him play in the past. That'll be fine. And then you're kind of leaving open the opportunity to also take something like a Karma. So maybe it's even like Ezreal or Karma for Noah and joining that bot lane. And bot lane, you're kind of happy to just match the push. So what's going to be the answer? Is it just going to be Karma and you go Ez Karma?
You got your pick of the litter, both the Varus and Kalista up and available to very high priority AD carries. You can pivot knowing that you'll get one back in return if there's not a solo lane Varus on the opposite side.
Just to give a heads up, when I started looking into Karma and coming into this, everyone on G2, apart from Yike, has played Karma in solo queue, so it's a heavy flex if you want to take it. Now, it will be the Kalista that they take and want to take a bit more of aggressive one, saying, look, no, you're fine. Take the Varus. You can have it. We're still going to be happy to play aggressive, but I wouldn't be surprised to see some Karma in the near future here for G2. She's so incredibly strong.
Damn. Varus and then priority on jungle, potentially Xin. I still think, when playing on even footing, one of the strongest junglers on the patch. Maokai obviously offering more utility, but Xin just straight up just so good in 90% of scenarios.
Yeah, unless Yike wants to go towards something like the Jax himself, or even we have seen him play the Trundle, so maybe it is kind of a Trundle angle, especially when you're against the mobile AD carries. But
Ooh, that's the Karma.
Fnatic going to take it away, so Varus Karma are going to be the option for Fnatic in the bot side. I think it's very, very good because in a lot of situations you're probably going to answer with a Nautilus here. So if you can poke down the Nautilus in that bot lane, make it very hard for Mikyx to really get anything. Blitzcrank could also be another option if you want to play a bit more further back.
And the beauty of Karma is that it is for, I think, most teams in the league of flex. Maybe not in 5 positions as we've seen from the G2 solo queue history, but a lot of people are willing to flex this Karma. So we're going to have to wait and see where exactly it will end up. And that is the Hwei. Was banned away in game 1. Will get picked up here. And this is a champion. You saw Cavs kind of give us the blueprint. You know, he did some impressive stuff, but most of what he did was push QW, severing Bolt, while someone else CC'd a target. And it does a lot of damage. It's incredibly effective. If you get ahead, it's pretty impossible to interact with as well.
And you know who's great at having CC? Vi. She can point and click at you, and you definitely get hit by it.
You get the follow-up.
It works out great. And I think Poppy now coming in is going to have an answer, at least for the Kalista, a little bit of that what Vi wants to bring, but that combo in the mid lane is still going to be very, very potent. But I'm curious if this is actually a Poppy for Razork, or whether we see it again being flexed at the top side for Oscarinin.
It's a double flex. A lot of my favorite games from Razork last year were Poppy games, where he just went bottom, forced play after play after play, because this champion is so fantastic at diving early to kind of snowball their bot lane.
I will also say, if you just ban Blitz here, I was going to say you can actually leave not open, because technically you could flex Poppy into the support role as well, which is a thing that exists, you know. But
if people are just joining today and didn't watch like the last 2 days of crazy games, they're like, you need to chill. You're cooking too much. But when you see the Yuumi locked in, when you see all the crazy stuff Mad Lions Hwei were playing yesterday, everything is possible.
I feel like Mirwin opened the cupboard. I was just like, let us cook. Let us go wild with what this new patch has brought.
Finally put some spice on it, and people are like, damn, spices are good. What else is in the spice cabinet?
It was Germany. They needed someone to introduce it, you know?
But, oh my God. Bold call, man. In Berlin, just going to drag the German cuisine.
Look, I like my spicy food, man. It's been a struggle to find.
I know, which, I mean, crazy. Wouldn't have gotten that from Irish, but I respect it immensely. Here we are, Nautilus banned away. Okay, so limiting some of the nice pairings with Kalista alongside the Darius as a good counter pick into the Zac. Again, Zac, naturally nice synergy with the Hwei. Really long-range setup, really long-range follow-up as well. But I'm still expecting this to be Poppy in the jungle with counter picks saved for Oscar. Based on what he was able to do against the Zac top yesterday, and based on the bans we're seeing now, I think that still might be the angle that G2 go for.
I think it's more than likely the direction we're going to see, but there is always the opportunity to start flex stuff around. I personally, whenever I see something like a Hwei, prefer hyper-aggressive picks. Blitzcrank, definitely that, and I think a good answer if you want to, flex the Karma around. Also a takeaway from the G2 side, because I think that was going to be their other answer, that they wanted to go, hey, if you're going to put Karma into that bot position, let's try and make sure we can go for that aggressive Ballista lane. But I think at this stage, it's kind of a case of have some sort of dive to deal with Hwei, and you don't really have that much with Poppy. The Karma more than likely going to go mid. So I'm curious if Oscarinin is going to take something like a Zac to try and put that threat at the backline, which is why we're seeing Hansama kind of predicting that dive and going with the Braum here.
And we talk about
the Zac.
Oh, and Zac as well. Okay, so I mean, one of the big strengths of the Braum is he can mitigate all of the Varus damage. With a Kalista on the opposite side, you fully expect an on-hit Varus. And Braum can really shut that down. Paired with the Zac, paired with the Vi, got a lot of good dive buddies to stack those concussive blows.
So I'd actually prefer to see the Poppy shoved into top lane here, Karma gone to mid lane, and then you take the jungle here. Because I think at this stage, it's... Okay, I think if you put Karma top, she's actually going to struggle a little bit against the Zac, because he can jump onto her, get good control, and you've got a lot of CC lockdown between BB and Yike. So, yes, you've got some speed up there, so maybe you can try and maneuver yourself around it for Oscarinin.
But I can hear Chakrez at home in front of his computer, furiously typing, full tank Karma.
No.
Malignance.
Malignance is so dumb.
I know, but you just think about it. Unkillable Karma just sits on top of Hwei, makes his life hell. So I don't believe it's going to happen, but I'm just saying, you got to be ready for it.
But this is the thing. So when you get to 3 items and you got your ability haste down and you hit level 16, if you ore and you have Malignance. You ore and you hit your Q on 3 people, you immediately have your ore back up again. It is absolutely insane. So you don't even have to choose between, do I do damage with Q? Do I do my E? No, you get 2 out of the 3 options that you really want available to you at all points in time, which is just absolutely absurd. So it's why we've seen Karma rise up on 14-2 alongside a lot of the buffs that you got coming into 14-2.
Yeah, most certainly. Fnatic and G2 fans battling it out. We are moments away from getting into our final game in this series. Winner will face down BDS in our first best of 5 next weekend. The winner of that fateful matchup will head straight to the finals. It is not do or die, but it is certainly do if you want to make it as far as you can. G2 and Fnatic gearing up.
Yeah, I was trying to come up with a nice little saying there of like, you know, do or die and lose or, but it's just kind of play more games, which is less exciting.
That's true. Yeah, it's kind of tricky, the stakes there. Okay, Hail of Blades on Noah. This is interesting. Of course, you do really want long-range poke to kind of match some of what the Hwei is bringing, but very often we see on-hit Varus to match the Kalista just because sustained damage often becomes the name of the game. So, different take than what I'm used to seeing, but still very powerful, obviously, and much more lane-dominant rune choice. Is G2 squatting up on the top side of the map. Razork posturing like there are more people there than there actually are, so G2 aren't going to step forward. Kind of a do-what-you-won't moment.
Does mean that G2 is just going to walk into their jungle, though, knowing the Razork went out to the top side and get some vision down. So trying to see if they can spot out. Pings galore, though. Everyone aware of where that vision control is placed. Yike will be spotted as he goes on towards his top side here, although just going to wait as long as possible so he doesn't introduce any sort of change into Razork's jungle pathing. But yeah, all said and done, going to take it easy. I think guys, again, are going to be on the spot side, as he said, for Noah. I think it's more of a case of survive, which he's going to be able to do so fine against this Braum and Kalista. And at the end of the day, it's more so a case of I'm going to... Oh, hey, Oscarinin.
There's a little Karma harass. That's going to slow Yike down pretty significantly as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of health gone. Now, I think he will just abandon topside and go, hey, I'm going to move into this bottom side of the map, because if you end up in a position where you try to match, I think Razork can get help to come in and try... Well, I was going to say maybe, actually, but... Hang on.
Nice hook back onto Mikyx. Level 1 for Braum, obviously pretty strong, but there's not really an opportunity to follow up trade there. No making good use of the Hail of Blades. It's only going to get more difficult as the lane goes on and Braum gets a few more levels under his belt. Concussive blows can be a problem, so great hook to kick the lane off from Jun. And I think while last game was a lot about Humanoid and Razork, as we see Caps and Humanoid trading pretty aggressively in mid lane, the quantity of hooks hit by Jun in that game has to be respected. And this time he has a champion that I think can do that even better in the Blitzcrank. Don't have to worry about walls anymore. He can throw a hook through that wall. What a great life. This time he's going to hit a minion, though. So that's a caster curse, and I'm sorry I said anything.
I will say, though, for Jun, it was kind of him and Labrov were the two guys I was like, these are the Blitz guys in our league. They really started the trend towards bringing Blitzcrank out. They look fantastic on it, and I'm not surprised to see him try and go for this when it's game 3 here against G2, and his hooks have been spectacular. So I'd be expecting, well, at least have high hopes from in this matchup. Mikyx, though, with the push from Hansama, did get some vision down in the bot side jungle, so trying to spot out where Razork is again. And in the grand scheme of things, that like little invade from Oscarinin hasn't really amounted to too much now for Yike. But I was going to say, I'm kind of surprised at how much control Caps has had in this matchup in the mid lane. Oh, hang on, good hook.
Nice pull back onto Hansama. Mikyx
Razork's here.
has Unbreakable, but didn't have stand behind me, so couldn't get in front of Hansama. Razork now chasing in. Go for the flash. Hansama immediately going to match, taking his time, getting the red buff burning down. Might not even need to do any more damage. Knockup now coming in. Vi across the wall. Razork with a knockback into the wall. It's going to be first blood going in favor of Fnatic, and now Hansama's going to be in trouble. Noah finishing another kill. Han stepping too far forward for the return, and it's Yike in trouble. Hook, not quite going to connect. Yike on the edge here. Noah stepping in. Noah wants to finish the job. He'll get the double, but it'll cost him his life.
Still, though, they should barely be able to get this wave in underneath the tower. Caps, though, knows that there's no one in the vicinity and wants to look for Humanoid.
Caps backing away, good damage. Solo ball, baby! A little bit delayed. That is a big passive coming in from Hwei.
The damage from that passive always astounds me. I kind of caught Humanoid off guard there, and especially even he was one of our Hwei players, but wasn't expecting that one coming his direction. And now Caps with a kill. Bot lane, though, for Fnatic. Massive, massive win for them. Serrated Dirk already picked up tier as well. This is a huge win for them.
Yeah. And G2 I don't know, they must just not have known that it was warded or had faith in their ability to dodge out here. But again, Mikyx's only level 2, so can immediately mitigate the upfront damage, and then right on time, Razork in the area. Meanwhile, on the top side, your concerns were justified, Braum! The only thing you missed out on was that a jungler does not need to be involved. And this is one of the reasons the G2 are scary, because in the moment where Fnatic's bot lane seems to have entirely won the game with the support of their jungler, 2 solo kills happen, both in mid and top in favor of G2.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how much practice these top laners have into the Zac Karma matchup. This is kind of a new Premier style coming into 14-2, but looks like BB more than comfortable to sit here and play this matchup. Razork though, Hex Flash over the wall. G2 spotting Jun, a little bit more worried. Hansama going to ward the brush, but that can set up for Jun.
Move in, knock back Mikyx there just in time to body block, but it might just cost him his life. He's got no more stand beside me. Mikyx going to get taken out. Hansama just trying to fire back, get a bit more damage down, but Noah grabbing yet another kill. 3 kills, only 5 minutes into this game.
And this is where Fnatic get dangerous. This is where G2 have struggled, is when their bot lane fall behind. And right now, Noah 3-1. They have a ton of control. Yike will try and respond on the top side with the Void Grubs, but honestly, I think at this stage, once Humanoid, well, and the top side doesn't go wrong, it should be all right.
Yeah, can't go for the full all-in here. That's going to be the Mantra W for extra healing coming in for Oscar. Level 6 as well.
Still, like, you're getting a kind of a trade on the map here. So G2 feeling very strong on the top side of the map because you've got 2 solo kills that came through on Caps and BB. So a lot of this is going to be Yike trying to play towards that top side. But it does mean that Fnatic are going to be able to put a lot of pressure to continuously go towards Hansam and Mikyx and look towards things like early dragons and try and get that control and make sure they're going to be fine in that regard.
And I think there's a lot of pressure on Yike to try to further snowball some of those solo lane advantages, because you can see BB still behind in terms of overall farm. There's a first strike on Oscar, which is going to mitigate a lot of the gold lead Broken Blade gets from getting those kills. So when level 6 rolls around for Yike, they need to keep those kills coming, because you can't save bottom lane at this point. That's a 3-1 bar. So if Poppy's down there, it's nigh impossible to win that 3v3. Maybe with the perfect Braum shield, but that's a tall task. Snowballing Caps and Broken Blade, on the other hand, a much easier job.
I think it has to come down to getting this ultimate available for Yike and where he wants to put that pressure, because you could try and look for Noah. Like, his flash isn't going to be up, and maybe that's the moment where you follow up, you Mikyx W's to Yike after he engages and sets up for Hansam. It could be an opportunity. But it's also, like, you could just look for Caps in mid. Humanoid still has his flash, which makes that a little bit more difficult to play around, so I feel like Fnatic would try and rectify some of the difference that's in this bot lane at the moment, especially 1,000 gold over there in favor of Noah.
And he just hit level 5. This is such a bloody game early on. 7 minutes, 7 kills, Broken Blade going in onto Oscar. It's a Q, just on the edge of the range there, but Oscar keeping it at arm's length. This is kind of what you expect this lane to look like in the 1v1.
It's very hard to get the poke on Oscarinin onto BB, because every time he W's the wave, he just gets to heal up because he picks up a couple of those blobs.
On the way, Mikyx on the way, Caps on the way, 4 members coming bot lane. Noah needs to get out, heal for the additional movement speed. Razork ready to body block anyone else from following up. Jun hitting the hook onto Mikyx is big, but they can't afford to get over aggressive. 2 new members of G2 in the area.
Yeah, he just needed to dissuade it, and Razork did a perfect job of that. Plunks himself right down to the choke point and says, no, you're not coming in here, lads. Go home. So they end up wandering back towards mid. They even get a bit of damage onto Mikyx. And the whole time, Humanoid is just keeping farming in that mid lane, making sure that he's going even with Cap. So nice job by Fnatic to shut that play down.
Yeah. And now that Humanoid has a few more levels under his belt, he should have an easier time, I think, matching some of Caps' wave clears. Hex Flash forward, Hansama, nice side step. Auto's coming in, but actually not nearly enough. Oscar getting pulled back. Broken Blade lost sustain, going for the all-in here. Oscar immediately going to heal up off the Mantra W. Should be okay. Broken Blade doesn't want to overcommit, but
he came out with more health than he went in. This is the problem with Zac.
He makes so many blobs when he ults, and there's no Oblivion Orb yet for Oscar, so he just can't do anything to stop this healing. He's Mantra Wing again. Broken Blade still making it out. What an infuriating champion to lane against.
Yeah.
Do you remember when this was good in Season 3?
I don't want to.
Yeah, his Q used to just do like 300 base damage, and you would just walk into lane, and it was just a double fist punch, unlike what we see now, which is more of the now kiss sort of action, and you would just win every lane. But this is still very annoying.
And now BB's going to get a nice reset timer off as well. Maybe even find Razork, actually, as he moves down here.
What's he going to do with finding Razork, though? For right now, there's not really a lot. He's just going to use him for little balls of goop.
And heal himself, you know? It's a great synergistic relationship there.
Every champion is just a little health pop for Zac. 100.
It's disgusting. And look, he's got 2 there.
Oh,
There you go.
3.
There.
Oh my
It's
God.
so disgusting.
What do you do? Like, you go
Yeah.
back and you buy Oblivion Orb, and then, oh, man. I mean, at least the good news is, like, Morella's is actually a cost-efficient item finally. So it's not a bad buy anymore. Maybe not ideal, because like as you highlighted, Malignance is really all you want. So it will be the Lost Chapter instead, just to keep the mana up.
Yeah, so just trying to see if he can just keep the wave pushed out, because BB actually is getting some damage on the turret, which is absolutely insane when you think of this range versus melee matchup with the range, the wave clear the Karma has, but it's helping out, right? 300 gold difference top and in mid. Still waiting for this like first dragon to go down though. It feels like Fnatic haven't really been able to get as much pressure onto that bottom side as they'd like to, because Caps has control of mid.
Caps doing a good bit of damage there. Poke obviously want to hit multiple abilities to get value out of the Hwei passive. Fnatic doing what they can on the bottom side. G2, I think, happy to have the pace of the game slow down a little bit. Obviously, normally with Kalista, you really want to get things going, but they're at such a massive deficit in the bot lane that rushing to some of these early skirmishes is not going to do them any favors.
Yeah, I think it's more about finding your window, right? Because you can still play for your one-item spike of Bork and Boots, and that will come up nicely around Rift Herald, right? So I feel like that's what G2 are waiting on, is like, cool, Caps has got his lead, BB has his lead, let's just slowly farm up so Hans Sama then becomes relevant in this fight right before we go to it. And we'll be able to try and play for a big team fight at that stage, where we get that isolated damage on Yike, the CC, or for Yike, the CC follow-up coming through from Mikyx, the damage follow-up from Caps. You're in a great spot then at that stage.
Mikyx only level 5 though. Not nearly as many counter-engage options as they would like. Caps has to respect the playmaking from Humanoid. Quick flash out to safety. Hook gonna come in from Jun just in time, and the mid laner goes down. Goodbye to the mid lane lead. Fnatic grabbing the Drake as well.
And that's great communication from Fnatic. Humanoid could have flashed to follow Caps' flash if he wanted to, but the flash on Humanoid far more valuable. So they say, Jun, take the lead here. Make sure we keep it alive.
Oh, Mikyx stepping up to try to cancel the backs. Nice pullback coming in from Hansama. Knowing they have the safety body block going in as well. Unbreakable coming in for Mikyx, just trying to deny any follow-up damage. Both members getting knocked back. Ignite ticking. Could be long goodbye. Brokenblade coming in. Every member TPing down to the bottom side. They want to kick this fight off. They want to shut Noah down. Flash in for Brokenblade. Going to make him kiss. Going to find the shutdown. Going to the back pocket of the Zac in the top lane. Hansama grabbing another. G2 firing back. Humanoid in the meantime trying his damnedest to get a bit of gold. Similar story for Oscar on the top side.
It's a similar story to game 1. BB TP in bot lane to get Hansama and Mikyx a lead. Now, the goat is still very much in favor of Noah, but still these G2 teleports are causing a ruckus for Fnatic's bot lane. Humanoid though, and he's getting some of that gold back, means that, and that kill, means that he is actually finally in a gold lead when you look here in the mid lane. So Fnatic are fighting back. It's just G2 finding those moments to turn around, and it looks good from the get-go. They turn on to Mikyx because they know that he's overextended. Hansama pulls him back out, and the hook from Jun, I think he was actually aiming for Hansama, but just not quite able to get it, and then just trying to rectify the situation. I think Razork just needed to call it at that stage. I don't know if they spotted the TP from Brokenblade in up to that Tri-Brush. I think if they'd spotted that, they would have just said, no, that's enough. We got to teleport out. We get the Karma with a lead. But yeah, Fnatic overall still pretty happy with this.
Definitely fair. Holding on to a little less than a 1k gold lead as well as the Mountain Drake. BB again. Elastic slingshot, just sitting in the darkness, waiting to leap in. The good news is Fnatic have done their due diligence, laid down a bit of vision ahead of time to make sure they can spot those Zac engages coming. Humanoid's been assigned to bottom lane, just wants to push out, get a few more plates. Brokenblade going to be sent to respond. Caps set to solo hold mid. G2 looking to get as many grubs as they can, and Fnatic, it seems, don't want to commit resources here. They're fighting for mid prior now. Maybe they peek their heads up and contest. Razork coming into the pit. Remember, 5 is the big breakpoint that matters. TP is available for Humanoid. G2, I think they can be happy just getting the one and walking away here. Fnatic understand their strength. They got mid push, and they know there's really nothing for G2 to do. Yeah,
the big one is having that TP available on Humanoid. As long as you're able to bring Azir into the fight, you're going to be able to always win this, because everything on G2 was committed to that last one. So at the moment, G2 just happy to say, hey, we'll get 4. We are going to have a little bit of an advantage when it comes to push, just off the damage, but it's enough where you're just being pushed off by Fnatic as long as they have that map pressure for the double TP, but maybe more.
Oscar going to be locked up. Immediate knockup follow from Mikyx, but a clean flash out from Oscar. Takes him to safety. Timing not quite right for G2.
I mean, that's right before Rift Herald, so I like the idea from G2 of, hey, we won't be able to play off of the map state, so maybe we can find a pick which will be able to force us into a Rift Herald play. But now that you don't have that, I actually think Fnatic should be the ones that are able to pressure on towards it. Razork on the bottom side, though, will need to start to make his way up here. Push is available for Noah and Jun, so more than likely just clear out this next mid wave and then make their way over with the vision now being set up by Jun.
Definitely. And while Oscar is going to be flashless for the next 5 minutes, G2 aren't going to have ults up quick enough to capitalize on before Fnatic set their sights on this objective. Herald already being started. G2, do they feel confident enough to force the fight? But the vision is so much in favor of Fnatic. They're going to know this is coming. Razork solo on the objective, though. It is going to take some time, and Yike... Ooh. That hook not quite going to connect, so Fnatic essentially going to take an uncontested Herald here. G2 do not feel confident to force this fight.
Yeah, you can see that you're losing the wave on bot side, though. Humanoid played that very safely. He wanted to hide out of vision until he knew exactly where G2 were. So as soon as they showed on vision on the top end, just shows in that wave on bot. So you're going to get the Rift Herald. You honestly have a moment here, if you wanted to, where you could have just fully committed with Rift Herald immediately to mid lane because Kalista showed on bot side. But instead, it looks like they're going to play for reset into mid lane turret and look for that dragon that's about to spawn in just a few moments time instead. And with 2 items now complete on towards Noah, also Humanoid having his access to the Nashor's Tooth plus a blasting wand, he's going to start to tick over nicely when it comes to damage.
Yep.
And as long as you don't get someone picked before the fight kicks off, or Yike Caps find that moment to get that combo, I think you're in a relatively good spot here, Fnatic.
You absolutely are. You can see Varus is first to the mid lane, which means that he's going to get wave pressure first, which means that Blitzcrank can walk up toward. So vision initially in this sequence did favor G2, but because Fnatic get mid control first, they're able to move down first, they're able to contest some of this vision and ensure that they have first access to the Drake. Mikyx fighting back with some, wards over the wall, as you do when you're not certain of the lay of the land, but it's not great vision.
This is where it gets dangerous, though. Fnatic transitioning through river like this, if you have Yike and also Caps in the vicinity, they can just look to turn onto Humanoid, but Fnatic managed to get themselves out of there. Mikyx found.
Back into Mikyx. Mikyx can just jump back onto Yike. Nice steadfast presence getting pulled in, but they only managed to hook up Broken Blade. Ulti coming in from the bars as well. Immediate ult response coming in from Caps off to the side of the fight. Hansama pulling Mikyx out to safety. Mikyx going right back in to try to lock up Humanoid. Concussive blows. 1-2 stacks looking for 3 and 4. The stun will connect. Broken Blade still on top of the Azir. G2 dancing around Fnatic right now. Excellent pushback on Hansama means a kill. Humanoid trying to turn this one right back. It's all eyes on Caps. Does he have the damage? The answer is hell. Yes, he does. Hwei, incredibly impressive. Broken Blade with the setup, but it's Caps who's bringing it home here. Nice sidestep from Oscarinin to make it out to safety. Severing Bolt won't connect. Clean patience from Oscar, but he's slowly but surely getting taken down. Elastic slingshot. Here comes the Zac one more time. VOD there. Passive Brock, but Oscar's living. Manages to make it out. Another clean sidestep. G2 don't even have the resources to start the Drake quite yet, but they should get it on the backside of the play.
The fight was so messy, though. Yes, you end up going onto the engage here on Mikyx, but he's also got the pullout coming through from Hansama when he gets low. On the top side as well, BB forcing Noah out of the fight, so Noah's not really being able to follow up the damage he needs onto the bottom half of this fight. And Humanoid, he's doing his damnedest, but he's only 1.5 items in here. It's a trifecta of where the hell do I put my damage? He eventually decides to go onto Kalista, and they do get the kill, but he's had to flash himself into an awful position where Caps is easily able to follow up on BB with some nice cues on that CC train that needed G2 to set up that fight against Fnatic.
And I was so caught up in the chaos of that fight and the playmaking of Humanoid. You can see the joy on the face of BB there, a very close exchange, and some cupcakes. Oh, I wasn't sure if we were going to come back, but now it's the play on the bottom side. Broken Blade keeping the dive going. Yike now trying to move in. They don't really have a lot of damage here, but they can stop the dive, but they cannot save the tower. Knockback from Razork is big. Broken Blade standing next to Hansama. Can they keep this train going? Jun's going to be in trouble. Hansama on the chase. Arrow from Noah could be big. Hitting onto Hansama. Yike on the way. Mikyx on the way. Stepping in. Concussive blows there. Caps with the follow-up again. The Hwei range coming in clutch this time. Oscar will not escape. Yike wants to keep it going. Fnatic need to run for the hills.
He's still adult. Yike, as long as he can range. Ballbreaker could be
going
the follow-up.
Moving in. He's still got the ult. He's still going to turn on the Humanoid if he has the opportunity. They're still in the area. G2 slaughtering Fnatic. It was neck and neck, but they even things up just like that. Full confidence as they force the play on the bottom side.
It was close, and G2 said, that's just how I like it. They've blown this game open, pick after pick. They haven't given Fnatic any opportunity to try and play off the advantages that they have. I mean, you still have the Rift Herald in your pocket here as Razork. He just hasn't had a chance to put it down.
And this is so tricky now. I mean, you know what the sustained damage can look like with an Azir in these teamfights, but it's just hard to find the space. Caps hurts, and there's so much CC set up to make it easy for him to just land every single skill shot.
And Humanoid just wants to look for the tower. They think they have the advantage with 3 men on this bot side, but again, BB is so hard to deal with, and they try to focus down the tower so they can actually just get it and get out. But G2 are coming in. TP coming back from Hwei to get into vicinity. You don't have to follow up from the rest of Fnatic as they're still in river. And it's just this chase down potential. Even here, I really think you just need to ult as Noah. Just call it quits, get on out. But unfortunately, he just doesn't use it, which means that now you get the leap strike. Oscarinin's in a terrible position as well because he's committed to trying to get into this fight. And then Yike's just so easily able to chase down these members.
Yeah, follow-up there is clean. And making it look easy, really. G2 on the execution here. Once they have a lead in these fights, they just start to take over. And Herald finally going to get used. It will break open mid-tier 1, which is big. A bit more access, a bit more control, but Hansama already looking to take a counter-objective on the top side of the map. Gold is dead even for the most part. The big difference, Broken Blade, very far ahead of the clock. 3-0-5 has been massive for the team on the pick. One lane, found a solo kill, has been the big playmaker that has allowed G2's backline to stay so uncontested in a lot of the exchanges.
And who eventually is going to kill him? Like, you're looking at Humanoid going, hey, look, this is on you, because he's going to go Spear Visage, he picks up all of his stuff, gets the increased healing, he goes Kainic Rucker, and he gets that big magic shield, and poke Varus.
I mean, the problem is, if you don't play poke Varus, it's so hard to do damage at all against a Vi, against Caps, who has all this range. But if you don't play on hit Varus, Broken Blade is never going to die. And this is a situation where you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, as Varus. Ooh, that Severing Bolt hitting. Noah looked away for a brief moment, it would appear. Another one hitting. This ability is actually difficult to land.
It is not point and click.
It's a pretty decent delay. He has Youmu's. And remember, if you're isolated, it's an execute. The lower you get, the more damage it's going to do. Or if CC connects.
There's
Root
the
now
CC.
coming in, Severing Bolt again, just a bit of poke onto Jun. G2 taking their time on the siege. And this is what makes these Hwei comps so infuriating to play against, is that anyone hits you with any engage, Hwei has the range to immediately follow up and take 70 or 80% of your health bar. And if you're on Fnatic, the person jumping on top of you is Broken Blade, who you cannot kill.
And the increased damage is so annoying when you do have that CC land as well. And for G2, they're perfectly fine and just keep playing the way that they're doing, right? You slow push the wave as Caps, he pretty much auto wins this matchup against Humanoid when it comes to push, thanks to that Rumble ult, whatever the hell it's called.
Molten Fissure.
Molten Fissure.
Yeah.
And as long as you have that, you just get to continue putting vision control wherever the hell you want because you win the mid push. TP coming in from BB into the mid lane because they're a bit nervous about Fnatic just starting up this Braum, but realistically, the Dragon at 2208 is really what we're focusing on. The Hextech third Dragon for one of these teams, but I think it'll be more of a case of maybe Yike solos this as G2 get control over mid because there's not really much pressure when it's only the second Dragon for either of these squads.
Yeah, and I think you're in a position now where I'd really love to see some healing reduction outside of Jun's Ignite on the side of Fnatic. I don't want to overstate how important it is. Zax's sustain is much more usually about lane than it is in a lot of these extended team fights, although it does add up. But you've also got Thunder Sky, you've got Kalista as well. It matters, and it's cheap, you know? Just something to consider. Not to take away from the desire to build a ton of ability haste in the top lane karma, but... there it is. Okay, there it is. Humanoid got it.
Yeah, I was going to say, at least
Great
Humanoid
purchase.
picked it up, but...
Knock-up going to get sidestepped there. Hook goes in onto Mikyx. Unbreakable about to fade away. The Braum should just go down. Yike trying to create space by stepping forward. Knockback. He's just going to hold it. He doesn't really want to throw it at any of the frontline targets here. Good patience coming in from Razork.
He also managed to get Mikyx as he jumped to Hansama, so he didn't really have any way out apart from a splash. But Fnatic, don't try and overcommit to that. They're just going to back it away. BB, though, likes his odds here.
Oh, crucial that the stretching strikes did not connect. Very well could have cost Oscarinin his life. Oscarinin. In the heat of the moment, I never say the full name. I just got to go back to Oscar.
I mean, it's a solid name. I mean, we name awards out of it, you know?
It's true. That's where we got the name.
Exactly. It was this man.
It was in anticipation of this particular top one. All right, Fnatic taking mid-prio. They have an Azir, so they can pretty quickly take out Baron if given the space, if given the opportunity. But it is a terrifying prospect against a Hwei who can check with so many of his abilities to see what's happening there.
I think he has to, because with Fnatic at least having push on the map, yeah, this is the thing. You can very quickly look for the Fnatic Death Rush and make it difficult to play. But I think that's where G2 are just like, look, we just play this slow. They don't have any, well, they have, sorry, the pink ward that's on the Baron at the moment, but once that goes, they won't have any vision on this Baron, and that's where it starts to get a little bit more dangerous. Luckily, BB now has control of that bot side, so at least you can start playing for BB to link up with you, but Fnatic still have the TP advantage, and they can pull the trigger whenever they want to.
But now it's G2. with their mid-prio. They're going to immediately clear out any potential vision here, as well as lay down yet another control ward. Fnatic not having a control ward in that previous sequence of play puts them in a bit of a deficit here in terms of vision control. Slowed down any potential threat, really stopped G2 from face checking. And now G2 going to be able to get mid-prio pretty easily. Although don't have perfect information on where a lot of members are, so don't want to overcommit here. Still respecting a potential Blitzcrank hiding in the darkness.
Yeah, I think this is where for G2 you're just happy to keep vision on the objective, because at least with Humanoid, you'll be able to take down the objective quite quickly now, working up towards his third item. With Leandri's Torment in his back pocket as well, he will do a lot. But I think the problem for Fnatic is when you look at, hey, maybe you can look for a TP play. Who do you really want to be flanking? Like the Karma AP style, or hang on.
Oh, Mikyx caught out here. Knockup now coming in. Yike, but it's Broken Blade on the backside. Keep your eyes on that Zach, going to try to keep things going. Hansama untouched for now, but Razork knocks him out. Caps trying to do as much damage as humanly possible, but he's been locked up by Noah's ultimate. Caps, though, on a rampage, has already taken Noah out of the equation. Broken Blade leaping in fearlessly. Flash out to make sure he doesn't get pushed back. One more member stepping forward. Searching strikes, bringing Humanoid back into the fold, and that's going to be just enough to finish the job. But Humanoid still living. Of course, Luke giving him up for just an additional second, but it's just not enough. Broken Blade is too damn tanky. They cannot kill this Zach. He still has passive. He refuses to die. Fnatic desperate to finish the kill. Captain Hansama still standing. Broken Blade is up again, and he's going right back into the fight. This man does not quit. Another stretching strikes. Body block coming in for Razork to buy space for the rest of his team, but G2 just descending upon Fnatic, knocking down the tier 2 tower and taking the fight.
Broken Blade has too many blobs about him. Fnatic have no DPS to take him out with Noah gone and Humanoid gone. It is the hope of killing the top laner. 3-0-7 on this G2 side. And you get more vision onto this top side. You get more control, more towers gone. And Fnatic, they're trying desperately, but Noah getting caught out was just a thorn in the side of the team fight for them.
And it's such a nightmare for Noah. There's so much CC, there's so much backline threat, and if anything does hit him, there's immediate follow-up from Caps. Broken Blade diving under the backline, which by himself, it's scary, but not normally the biggest threat, is a death sentence at this point in the game. 6-1-4 for Caps, 3-0-7 for Broken Blade. Working incredibly well together in the team fights. And once again, Noah's been caught out. Knock up, follow up there. Razork going to buy as much space as he can. Noah still living crucially. Knock up there onto Yike. Yike going to be in trouble now. The Severing Bolt in the backside, not going to connect. Noah can't find any space to auto-attack. Finally going to throw in a hail of arrows, but G2 again, they have the momentum in the fight and they just start to take over.
They couldn't get Noah, but they do find the jungler, and as Baron is there, they may just turn immediately over to it. Humanoid was trying his damnedest to get some damage down, but he was just walking into the locket of the Iron Solari Braum, which was able to tank it all up. Mikyx's still low, but I don't know if they want to try and commit to this. Noah just doesn't have a health bar, and that's a long range that BB can go.
I don't have Rage Blade on Kalista either, which means stacking up a lot of these spears is a little bit tougher. Humanoid is a big threat, looking for Caps off to the side. Ulti coming in, they manage to push Caps back to the waiting arms of Noah. Noah getting chucked out, but he's still living for now. Trying to free fire. Mikyx body block coming in. Hansama on the chase, looking to take Noah out of the fight. Jun off to the side, Oscarinin in there as well, but the Karma just does not do enough damage. Jun running, Hex Gate gonna get interrupted by Yike. Noah will make it out alive. The Baron will be delayed, but Fnatic losing so many members in the process. Oscar looking for the fancy V, looking for the sidestep, a flash out to safety, but he should just get taken down. Another stretching strikes, another kill for Hansama. Shut down to G2's AD carry.
Another notch in the books for G2 as they start to move over towards the Dragon as well after picking up the Baron. And this was so close. Humanoid gave his life to find Caps, but the problem is that Humanoid is your main source of damage. And when everyone on G2 is able to follow so efficiently, he just doesn't have a chance to escape. Noah is zoned out of the fight by Mikyx. It's G2 splitting to chase down all members of Fnatic and make sure there is no hope that they are going to be able to pick up this fight. Baron didn't end up going down on the back of it. It would be Dragon that's taken, but I feel like it's just move over again as G2 towards this Baron and make sure you're able to pick that one up.
And the threat range of this composition with the Vi and Zach together is immense. Instantly taking Humanoid out after he manages to essentially 1-for-1 with Caps. But again, you said it before, Humanoid is the damage right now. Yes, Karma's working towards death cap, but it's just not enough. There are too many champions who can body block a Mantra Q. So unless you're finding the perfect angle, the perfect setup, and Hansama's caught asleep at the wheel, it's just not reliable enough.
Yeah, I think it's the fact that Humanoid needs to be the damage dealer, but Humanoid also in a lot of these scenarios kind of needs to be the engage tool. If Jun isn't there to find that pick, makes it so difficult for Fnatic to try and play this. You have to play it slow, you have to play it smart, but G2 are perfectly happy to do that when Caps is hitting you from a million miles away. You have great access to the backline and just even with a Poppy and this is here, you just don't have enough tools to get them out.
Razork knocked back into Mikyx. Decent start to the fight. Unbreakable use a little bit early here. Broken Blade ready to follow up, looking for the knockback. Ulti gonna get interrupted by the Poppy. That's gonna be a severing bolt onto Humanoid. Vile now coming in. Oscarinin over the wall, gonna start to shield up his backline, trying to keep himself. Another severing bolt. Humanoid needing 2 back-to-back, and he's just instantly out of the fight. Broken Blade making everybody kiss. Looking like a Carzy fanfic in the middle of the jungle as the severing bolt once again comes down. Caps cannot miss. They're being lined up, and he is knocking them down. G2 taking over again. Fight after fight, they don't even need the Baron. It was a 2K gold lead separating these teams at the start of the fight. Now it is 3, but it's G2 looking to end it right here.
And unlike the fanfic, it faced the black at the right moment for Humanoid, cut down by Caps. Incredible stuff as G2 will start to march on through the grey screens for Fnatic. And it's another G2 win.
G2, they knew how to make it work in the mid game despite the deficits in the laning phase. Still found the angle, the knockback is there. Razork desperately trying to save it. But it's G2 with the victory. And that man on your screen, the difference maker today, that's Zach. It's eating bands or everybody's playing it. It looks so good.
It was so good. And even with the karma effects coming in, there was just nothing that you could do. They tried to put it up against the Zach in the top lane, solo kill. Caps on the Hwei, solo kill. And even with our bot lane, lost its footing a little bit. There just wasn't enough on the Varus to try and pull it through.
Yeah. Of course, you can vote for your Kia player of the series at LEC on X, Broken Blade, Caps, Hans Sama. All the G2 fans coming alive with cheers. An incredible series. And credit to G2. When they let that Varus go through, I was nervous, I was sweating. And based on the laning phase, rightfully so, but the team play, the execution, and just how infuriating it is to play against the compositions that G2 drafted today. These split skirmish fights, these long-range Zac engages. Humanoid sidestepped into 1Q, got Zac-keyed, got hit by another, QW severing bolt, and just died. He did not get to play at all in that last fight.
Yeah, not even a little bit. It was so difficult, but I think that is the problem, was like, you had the Vi who was going in with the ultimate, who was unstoppable from the steadfast presence, so it made no difference whether you were going to stop that. The Zac was getting over the Poppy in 9 times out of 10 because he was coming in from weird, wacky, wonderful angles, and you're so desperate to keep your backline safe that Hans Sam is free hitting, the Hwei is doing whatever the hell he wants, and Caps is just having a field day. Like, there's no answer.
And if you slow yourself down as Varus in that circumstance, to charge up an arrow to hope to fire some damage back, when Braum's cooldowns are down, when you're somehow not hitting the Zac or the Vi either, you die. Because you get slowed, and that's all. I mean, it's such an infuriating comp to play against. And credit to G2 for making it to work. Let's hear more from Hans Sama, as Ginny is standing by.
Thank you, Dagda and Drakos. Hans Sama, thank you so much for joining me for the interview. Congratulations on your win. That was a very dominant performance from you on the Affiliates, on the Kalista as well. How does it feel to come into the BO3 series and just like pop off?
I think I'm pretty happy with the pop-off on the first game on the Lucian Nami, even though maybe our game was a bit of a bit hard in the first few levels, but we executed the Lucian Nami pretty well in the game 1. I think the other 2 games, like the Affiliates, it was insta-death every time I was going to get hooked in, so that was a bit hard to play that game. But yeah, the third one, I think it was less about me smurfing. It was BB that was actually smurfing with Zac, perma jumping in. I don't know how many times he jumped in, but that's quite a lot.
He was having the time of his life. He was just jumping from 1 to 1. But you're talking about the Lucian Nami. Actually, that was the first game, and a lot of people have a different discourse when it comes to Lucian Nami, at least in the Western region, the LEC being one of them. Are you a fan of this matchup?
I think I'm a fan of this matchup when, they tried to pick away the Senna. Because I guess 2 days ago we were picking Senna like 2 times, so they wanted to take that out. So I was thinking, okay, there's kind of a low chance they pick Senna, but I guess if they do, then I'll just go try Lucian Nami and hope that it's gonna go well. I know that in LEC it's not going so well. That's why I'm actually extra happy that we could win on it and show a decent performance. I was dashing in many times, so that felt nice. So yeah.
Yeah, you upped the win rate. So thank you for that on the Lucian Nami. I want to talk about the draft as well, particularly on that first game, the Lucian Nami game, actually, where you had Caps on LeBlanc and then you also had the Zac on top from BB. But then you're looking at the enemy team and they're going for Poppy, something that can just completely shut those jumps down. How did you approach it as a team? Because from a lot of us, our perspective is like, okay, this is a very different composition, difficult composition to play against. So as a team, how do you make it work when potentially the draft may not be that heavily in your favor?
Well, that draft was kind of good because we know that at least the Lucian Nami can do very well on the mid waves against the Sina Nautilus. Okay, maybe not so much against the Nautilus, but I guess I was confident to dash in anyways. And when you pick LeBlanc, Zac, I think we are trying to play on side, because I think they have had more of a team fight composition. I believe they took Azir that game, and yeah, that's why we had to play on side. The team fight were rough, but I think we were so far ahead that it wouldn't matter anyway. I'm trying to remember the game.
Yeah,
it's like hours ago. But yeah, I'm happy that we executed well this draft.
Yeah, and BDS is your next opponent, so you guys are going to be in that upper final. How are you feeling about that?
BDS is going to be our opponent. Well, it's going to be exciting to play against them. I think they clearly showed strong performance in the LEC, and they almost finished first place.
Yeah, thanks, Casey.
If we didn't win against them, then we wouldn't be first place. Or Casey didn't win against them, we wouldn't be first place. So thanks, Casey. So yeah, it's going to be very exciting. I'm looking forward to the matchup in the ball lane. I think it's going to be nice to play against Ice and Laure. I think they are good. So yeah.
All right, thank you so much. Well, before we toss over to PGL, I want to ask you, did you get the chance to see the drawing that Caps did when he played Hwei?
Actually, no, I didn't.
Okay, no worries. I was going to ask if you wanted to rate it, but it's all fine. Thank you so much. We have Caps, though, over at the other side. Anything you want to say to him? Anything you want to say to Caps over on the other side?
Oh, well, strong performance from Caps today. So, yeah, nice.
A wholesome teammate. Thank you so much. Laure, back to you.